views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the official views of Real TV, its management, or affiliates. Content is provided for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome and good afternoon to another installment of National Parent-Teacher Association Speaks, NPTA Speaks. We are here again in the studio of Real TV, located at the Eastern Main Road in Sawa, Trinidad. A beautiful, sunny Thursday afternoon right here. And of course, it's always a pleasure to be able to share this 1 hour session with you. The voice of the National Parent-Teacher Association, our perspectives, what we do, and of course the fact that we have a voice in matters pertaining to education, parenting, and most importantly, seeking the interest and welfare concern of the children of Trinidad and Tobago. I would like to liken the NPTA under 3 pillars. One, of course, partnership, the other, engagement and empowerment, and the last of them is the advocacy, being the largest advocacy organization in Trinidad and Tobago, seeking the welfare and the interests of children and young people, guided by an Act of Parliament 18 of 1976. 2 weeks ago, we had guesting with us Mr. Kenneth Surratt, the Executive Officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association. And the topic then was inclusive education. As an organization, we strongly advocate that all children, bar none, are entitled to an education, and even those who are otherwise challenged or disabled, they themselves too are entitled to an education. The United Nations Convention on the Right of the Child, Article 28, makes it imperative that education should include all. As a matter of fact, the Article 24 speaks specifically to disabled children, and they themselves must have a seat at the table when it comes to education. The topic today is, of course, again, inclusive education, and guesting with me is Ms. Kwashiba Lafleur, founder and CEO of the We Care Deaf Support Network. Prior to this week, I knew nothing of this association or this network facility run and co-founded by Ms. Lafleur. So she's here today to tell us all about her network, her association, what she does, and what deaf and hard of hearing means to her. And of course, she'll also affect and mean a lot to us here in Trinidad and Tobago. Ms. Lafleur, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for
of
having
Real
me.
TV, NPTA Speaks. Very nice to have you on board.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome,
Thanks for having me.
welcome. Tell us, who is Kwashiba Lafleur?
I would start first that I'm an advocate. I'm a sign language interpreter. I'm a disability inclusion specialist. I'm an administrative support person. I'm so many different things.
Wow,
I'm a lot of different things. That's who I am.
Yes.
Particularly though, I work more or less with the community of persons with disabilities or persons who are deaf or hard of hearing, and that is something that I'm proud of. I'm proud in that area.
Great. Tell me, what inspired and motivated We Care Deaf Support Network?
I'm a parent of a deaf child. My eldest son is deaf.
Okay.
I found out he was deaf when he was 3 years old.
Right.
And during the time of us, he started Cascade at 5 going on 6.
Right.
And we were mainstreamed. He was mainstream, I would say we, because he was mainstream to Good Shepherd Anglican in Tunapuna.
Right.
And there were a group of children there in Tunapuna and Belmont, the primary school in Belmont. I can't remember the name of that school at the time, but A group of children did SCA, I think was around 2011, 2010, 2011.
Okay.
And all of those students were placed in junior life centers. However, the parents felt like those children could have attended regular secondary school and excel once given the opportunity and the support.
Good.
So we started lobbying for that to happen.
Right,
So we
right.
visited the Ministry of Education.
Good.
And the minister at that time,
I see you laughing.
yeah, because he said, so he told us, one of the mothers and I, her name is Marsha McIntosh,
Right.
he told us we are two emotional parents
Oh,
who
no.
nobody's not really going to pay attention to. And it was heartbreaking to him, say that as a
Certainly,
minister.
certainly.
However,
Yeah.
it kind of empowered and inspired
Got
me.
you.
So I
More
did tell
so.
them, it was like about 6 of us as the parents. I said, he's totally correct.
That's right.
We are emotional and we, so
And
we...
for good measure, for
yeah,
good reason.
we were
Exactly.
so... And following that, we had a little group in Cascade called We Care Deaf Support, Parent Support Group.
Good.
I opened the parent support group. I thought we needed something.
Great, yeah.
And at that time, I think Zina Ramatali was still president
Yes,
of NPTA.
got you, yes,
So I was
was.
trying to connect with Zina to try and see how best we could work through the PTA. And then I
Great.
felt like, you know what? We need to do an NGO. So I took it on myself, started the NGO, and the purpose of it was particularly to support parents
Right.
of deaf and hard of hearing children, deaf parents who also have deaf children or who have hearing children as well
Right.
throughout the system, because when I found out my son was deaf, I didn't get any information. There wasn't any type of resources
Got you.
available or
Support
anyone I
even.
could, right,
Yeah.
or anybody that I could talk to about
Right.
my son being deaf or what should I expect or
Got
how
you.
to navigate it.
Yes. Yeah.
I only had my family to go
Got
through
you.
that with
Yes.
me until we found Cascade School when he was almost 6.
Right.
So the network was particularly developed for that. However,
Got you.
we strayed from the mandate a lot.
Uh-oh.
When we started, we were actually advocating more for the rights of deaf children in education
Good.
and the human rights of deaf people in general.
Right.
We were really more focused on that.
Right.
And I think it was late 2022 when we were coming out of COVID, we realigned the organization.
Good.
So as the founder, I had a lot of autonomy to do a lot
Of
of
course,
things.
yes, certainly,
But I did connect with a group of other persons who are now a part of the board.
Good.
And from conversations, I told them I feel like we need to realign and go back to the main purpose.
Got
and
you.
we're now focused on the
Brilliant.
support of parents.
Good.
But that's how it started.
Tell me, how was the experience at your son's age of 3 when you discovered that he was hard of hearing? How was that experience?
When he was diagnosed, the first thing I asked the doctor was, how am I going to fix it? So how can we fix it?
Right.
He was privately diagnosed because I knew nothing about Dretchy at the time.
Right, okay.
Or we could get free hearing aids.
Got you, yes.
So he was privately diagnosed and we paid for his first set of hearing aids privately.
Okay.
She told me we couldn't fix it because I knew there were things like cochlear implants because I did my little
Right.
research.
Yes.
And I knew there were some surgeries you could do.
Yeah.
But she said because of the type of hearing loss he has, there wasn't anything that we can do to fix it. So I just had to learn sign language, which I
Right.
was against. For years, I was against learning sign language.
Right.
My son needs to learn to speak and he needs to learn to read like any other child.
Got
And
you,
I
got
was
you.
really against it for a bit until.
But of course, you
yeah.
had to eventually learn sign language, obviously, to communicate with your son.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, what I did was in Cascade School, the teachers there usually encourage you to do basic sign language.
Okay,
So just to avoid them telling me anything,
And
I
you
did a
went
little
on
basic
basic,
class.
yeah.
But in 2012, 2013, I was on the board of the Association for the Hearing Impaired.
Good.
And as a director on the board, and one of the only directors at that time who was able to sign and
Right.
communicate a little bit with deaf persons.
Got you.
2 other delegates, which were deaf, and I went to the World Federation of the Deaf. They had a national congress. So they do these congress, I think, every 2 to 3 years.
But you, this is international, huh?
There's an international conference.
Right.
And attending the conference is when my eyes was opened
Right.
to understanding education of deaf children more, how they learn, how we should
Good.
teach them what
Yeah.
mainstreaming for a deaf child should look like, what
Great.
education should look
Right.
like for them.
Important, yeah.
I was fascinated.
Yeah.
And when I came back home, my mentality changed. My mentality changed then.
Yes, certainly. But tell me though, some of these issues that you would have gotten at the international conference, are they being practiced today?
No.
Sadly.
Some of
regrettably.
them, one of the things that started happening though is the recommendation was that teachers should be specifically trained to teach deaf children.
Got you.
And we had a couple of teachers who were specifically trained, but they would have retired.
Oh,
And some of them at that time were close to retirement. So
Right.
most of these specific trained teachers are no longer in the system. We probably have one or two still in the system.
Yeah.
But what would have happened is coming out of that conference and coming out of other conferences that other people would have attended, you had more teachers from the School for the Deaf, both schools, open to learning more and being. So we do a lot of workshops.
Great.
And hopefully Dr. Skerrett, if you do
Yes,
invite him to the show, he'll be able to
certainly.
explain that more.
Certainly.
But there were a lot of workshops that was crafted and things genuinely crafted around teachers doing workshops, learning to teach deaf children more. And the teachers were generally open to it. So there was an understanding of this. These are some of the things we had to do. Sign language became a little more prominent in the country as well. Because around 2012, 2013, around that same time, Caribbean Sign Language Center opened.
Okay, good.
And the founder, which is Nicole Paul, she had asked me to assist her in managing CSLC.
And this is Caribbean you're talking about?
Yeah, this is within.
Yeah.
So what I asked was that we also include deaf persons as part of the teaching staff, and she was totally agreeing of it.
That's fine, yeah.
And so I started managing CSLC for her. So we did classes throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And we had deaf tutors assisting and administering the lessons. So
Yeah.
sign language became
Yeah.
a little more popular. So those things helped along the way as well.
Ishiba, what are some of the biggest challenges facing us in Trinidad and Tobago with regards to deaf and hard of hearing persons in our society? In our community?
Education or in society or not?
Let's go as a society as a whole and then
Okay.
zeroing onto education after.
I think one of the challenges is the communication because you would hear deaf persons talk about all the time of if I have to go to the doctor's office, I have to go to the health centers, I have to go to the bank or even a private, any discussions that I have to have privately. They are unable to do that without the support of a sign language interpreter because most people really don't sign or know sign language. So that is one of the challenges. I think they have the understanding of the language as well as also a challenge because we have a lot of persons who, because sign language is more popular, they are going to request interpreters.
Right.
But interpreters come at a cost.
Definitely.
And a lot of people think it's too expensive. But recently I had to explain to someone, just as somebody would take time to go and do their degrees, masters and PhDs, our interpreters, we may not have specialized training in Trinidad, but a lot of the people who are extremely good interpreters took years and years of mastering their skills. So you can't expect us to just come and say, yes, I'm going to sign for you voluntarily or for free.
No, not at all.
Interpreting is a skill as well. That is, like if I have to come here and sign while I'm saying everything, it's going to freeze my brain out.
Literally.
Because it's two languages you're switching in between at once. And persons really don't understand that. So I think that is one of the challenges as well, and people understanding that sign language is a real language and it requires the level of respect and understanding as you would treat Spanish or whoever else. It's the same thing. So interpreters need to be paid. And if we choose to volunteer our time, we would volunteer our time, but don't expect us to do that. So I think the communication is one of the biggest challenge that deaf people continue to face, and the lack of access to jobs. Because a lot of deaf people it's been challenging, but all of that is due to the communication challenge. Because a lot of employers would say, I could hire them, but then how am I communicating with them? So that is one of the biggest issues as well.
And that being the case, before we go into education now, just as we have bilingual, just as people are bilingual, in other words, I can speak English and Spanish, English and French, would you advocate the same emphasis be placed on sign language as an additional addendum to our English speaking philosophy?
Actually, something we discussed in the conference that we had a week ago. Because it's something we've been asking or advocating for years as well. Because sign language is like one of the top 5 languages in the world that most people speak. And you see it more popular now on YouTube and not YouTube particularly, but TikTok and IG. You see more people signing. So definitely we would recommend or suggest that sign language be included, not just in the curriculum. Teach the children to sign as part of the process and from early childhood level.
As well, good. So let's zero in now on education and the challenges that we are facing in Trinidad and Tobago, deaf and hard of hearing, specific to education.
So there are a number of challenges. One of the challenges, and I think that's one of the main things, curriculum development, because the curriculum is set in a way for children who are hearing. A deaf child need the curriculum should be adjusted in a particular way for a deaf child to learn. But we follow a standard curriculum where everything is very fast-paced and it's loaded with so many different things that we want them to learn in a school term. Deaf children need additional time to actually capture the information and process that. So they need a little more time to when it comes to the learning, but we expect them to learn along with the same pace. So that's one of the biggest challenge, curriculum. We need an adjustment to the curriculum. We also need our teachers to be specifically trained to teach deaf. Too many times we see where the Ministry of Education would appoint a teacher to a school, and that, well, we have two deaf schools, Cascade School for the Deaf and Audrey Jeffers School for the Deaf.
In South.
The ministry, in Marabella. The ministry would assign teachers to the schools, and the teachers are not signers or do not know how to sign well. And the reality is, if you are going to teach children, you should be a little more advanced than the child in sign language.
A little more, you say?
Well, I still saying a little more.
I hear you.
Just to be a little diplomatic on it. But you should be able to sign better than that child can, because you're going to teach the children. And I think that is one of the main challenges as well. So we need teachers to be specifically educated. In our curriculum, when it comes to a special education program that we have in the schools in UWI, and I'm not too sure UTT do a special ed program as well. We need to specialize. So we have special education, but there's no specializing in the teaching. Right. So we have a specialist. We come out of school and we did special education, and we are expected to go into a school to teach children who are deaf, to teach children who are on the spectrum for autism, etc. When you need specialized skill for those things, and so I think those things
will have its own. Will have its own.
Just at least specialize in the different areas so that we would be able to understand it better. So those are like three of the main concerns. Assigning aids to the students in schools as well. So some of our children go off to secondary school and they assign aids to them in the secondary school. Our interpreters in the secondary school operate practically similar to teachers, because sometimes there's one the teacher is there, but there's one aide to support the children at various levels, or two persons just supporting at various levels. So they have to go to all the subject matter classes with the student and expected to sign everything. Sometimes information missed. So they have to now reinforce with the child, and that requires you understanding the subjects to a particular level to be able to reinforce. So it's not just I'm interpreting or doing note-taking with the child in school. I'm also assisting that student in the classroom.
So you're suggesting probably more than one aid to the student?
Not just more than one aid, but an understanding. Sometimes because somebody learns sign language, again, similar to the teachers, they send them to support those children in the schools. That cannot happen. You need persons who are skilled in signing, who are skilled interpreters to assist, but they also need better pay, because they pay them very minimal wage, and those people, like I said, operate almost the same as a teacher. So they deserve that level of understanding and respect, where this job requires a little more remuneration than we really get.
And on that, let's pay a few bills, take a break, and come right back. Koshiba Lafleur is in the studio with us. NPTA Speaks Inclusive Education.
You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us. Hi, I'm Zalisa Budu Singh Rupani, and I'm inviting you to join me for Conversations with Zalisa right here on Real TV. It's not just another talk show, it's a space for real stories, real insight, and real impact. We cover it all: health, law, parenting, relationships, drug and substance abuse, mental health, social issues, and so much more, with expert guests who help bring clarity to life's most important questions. So whether you're looking to be informed, empowered, or simply inspired, this show is for you. Weekdays at 10 a.m. with repeats on Real TV.
Let's get straight to the point. I am Dale Edwards, Dale the Voice, and we're going to get straight to the point right here on Real TV. Join me Monday to Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. when we talk the hard truth. We're not beating around the bush. We're getting straight to the point, dealing with real issues, social, politics, and much more. Monday to Friday, the only place to be is right here on Real TV.
Join us on Real TV for Highlights with Alan Ferguson, a program where we aim to level the playing field through meaningful conversation and real action. We highlight the positive developments happening within communities across Trinidad and Tobago, while also addressing the concerns and challenges affecting government agencies and everyday citizens. Tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m., only on Real TV.
Kids say the funniest things, and sometimes the smartest too.
So kids, if you were Prime Minister for one day, what would you do?
That everybody got a light location and go in the beach. Have everybody. When the German walk out.
Every episode is packed with honest answers, big imaginations, and moments that will make you laugh, smile, and maybe even learn something new.
So join me, Zelisa, as we discover the world through the eyes of our youngest generation. Conversations with Kids, weekdays at 12 p.m., only on Real TV.
Welcome back to NPTA Speaks, National Parent Teacher Association Speaks. Today, Thursday, July 30th, 2026. My name is Walter Stewart, President of the Trinidad and Tobago National Council of Parent Teacher Associations Incorporated, and your host, NPTA Speaks. Guesting with me today is Ms. Toshiba Lafleur. She is the founder and CEO of We Care Deaf Support Network. Just before the break, we were looking at the special pay, let me use that word colloquially, special pay for teachers who are teaching in a deaf and
The
aids in the mainstream schools, secondary schools, and providing that support for our students.
Yeah.
Just elaborate again on that. I was making the point off air that they are specialist doctors, and of course they charge premium dollars, and for a reason, obviously. And of course, if we have specialist doctors, we expect if they are specialist teachers, the same would apply.
I agree.
Yeah.
But the aides, like I was saying before, because they are expected to interpret in the classroom
Yes.
for whatever the teachers are saying within the classroom,
Yes.
interpret for various different subject matters
Correct.
as well.
Yeah.
but also assist with reinforcing. If you are not, if you're just going as an interpreter without understanding the subject,
Yes,
you will not be able to do that. So they actually operate as assistant teachers, particularly as well in the classroom.
Yes, yes,
but their pay, their
Yes.
remuneration is not that good.
Yeah.
So I believe, and this is just me saying
Got
that,
you, got
and I
you.
know other people would agree with me
As well, yeah.
they deserve a better
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
remuneration as student aides in the
Yeah,
classroom,
correct,
especially for
correct.
persons who are working with deaf and hard of hearing
And
children.
of course, if you want to attract as well the cream of the crop to be able to assist our students,
Exactly.
please, it has to be
Exactly.
an
It has
attractive
to be worth it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
an
it has to be
attractive
worth it.
remuneration.
Yeah, agreed.
Kushtiba, tell me, what misconceptions of the deaf community would you like to see corrected, amended, looked at?
I think some people think deaf people, deaf people are dumb. And
Dumb?
it may sound, yeah,
Yes.
but because they're deaf, they don't know a lot of things.
Got you, got you.
Because they're deaf, they don't have a normal life.
Right.
Because they're deaf, they don't, like one of the challenges I realize when it comes to employment,
Right.
once you have deaf people, and in particular persons with disabilities working for you,
Right.
you have really committed, dedicated, loyal employees.
Mm-hmm,
And I think most people, because a deaf person is deaf and they can't communicate with them, they think it's very difficult to communicate with that
Got you,
person.
yes.
But once, if you are an employer and
Yes.
you take them on, they would find a way to communicate with you.
Good,
When you
good.
have the major meetings or you want to have very serious conversations,
Yes.
then you engage an interpreter.
Got you.
But for day-to-day stuff, once you
Yeah.
show them what they have to do and all of that, they would definitely engage. So that's one of the things I think people need to understand, that a deaf person is just deaf.
Yes, yes, yes.
And they see more than we could even imagine because their eyes are their ears.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know, so
yeah.
that's something people need to understand.
You know, there's this slogan, every child deserves to be heard. How do you contextualize that in terms of dealing with deaf and hard of hearing child?
Well, they still deserve the right to be heard because they sign.
Right,
And sign
right.
language is their mode of communication. It's
Gotcha.
actually the first mode of communication for deaf children or a
Right.
child born with hearing loss.
Yes.
So the first language you should be learning is sign language, and that's part of one of the things that we do in WeCare.
Right.
We do an early intervention program introducing parents to sign
Right.
language from very early,
Yeah.
so that they can start signing with their children from very
Yes,
early. So if a child is having a challenge or an issue or whatever, that child should be able to express themselves.
Got you.
You as a parent or teacher or whoever
Right.
within their
Yes.
family should be able to understand and should be able to communicate with that child on the
Good.
level that the child is at.
Yeah.
So that's still hearing them out,
Yes.
but it requires you understanding sign
Very
language
good,
as well.
very good. One of the issues that the ministry is looking into with regards to early screening and detection of issues like what we are now referring to is auditory as well. And it's almost mandatory that when a child enters early childhood care education center, that the child experiences this level of screening, auditory, vision, physical, etc. This, of course, you would want to promote highly because it will also give the parent that assurance that all is well with regards to the child's physical well-being as well. Would you want to promote that? as
Yeah, I think
mandatory?
early intervention is very
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
For, in particular, deaf children, it's important for the cognitive development.
Got you.
So that that child would be able to communicate at a level. Because once a deaf child is given the equal opportunities as a child who is hearing. So they're born, they're both screened at the same time. We capture the fact that this child has a hearing loss, and the intervention happen where we administer the support the parent need and start teaching sign language very
Got
early.
you.
That child will be able to excel just as any child at the level, at the same
you.
level as they are.
Kushiba, tell me, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. What does this mean in our setting, and again specific now to deaf and hard of hearing?
I'm not too sure it have any meaning in our setting, to be honest.
Come on.
I think a lot of people are open to the idea of inclusion
Right.
and equity and all of that,
Right.
but we are not really understanding the method of it.
Right.
So it's not just me as an employer hiring people with disabilities to say,
I'm hiring
ticking
somebody.
a box,
Yes.
but it's
yeah.
also providing them with the support
Yes.
and the requirements needed,
Sure.
the necessary things that they need to be able to excel in that environment.
yes.
And I think most times we are not at that level as yet.
Right,
we
right.
have the people who are interested in, hiring persons with disabilities. Because I recently saw in Tobago, they mandated that, you know, at least all government
Yes.
office has at least one or two persons with a disability.
Yes, yeah.
That is great. Once they're about, you know, ensuring that that person has a reasonable accommodation that is required.
Good.
And we're not going to cap it where we only hiring this particular type of disability compared to this one because
Right.
they're different. There are people with
Of
various
course,
types of
course.
disabilities
Yes,
on
certainly,
various
certainly.
levels.
Yeah.
So I think it's a, we're open to it,
Got you,
but
yeah.
we need to flesh out some of the aspects of it a little more.
And more importantly, of course, practice as well. In other words,
Yeah,
it has to
yeah.
be a measure of great practice and realization, and more so the awareness
Yeah.
of the need for DEI.
I think the one of the things that we probably need to do more as networks, as organizations working with people with disabilities,
Sure.
is a lot more advocacy and raising awareness,
Correct.
public awareness
Yes.
campaigns.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
probably we could partner along with the PTA
Sure,
in that
sure,
level
sure.
as well.
Yes, uh-huh.
Because I think sometimes people just don't know.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
if they
correct.
don't know, they're just going to do what
Obviously.
they're accustomed
That's
doing.
right,
So
yeah.
if you make them aware,
Yeah.
share information,
Right.
get them a little more knowledgeable and
Yeah.
informed,
Yes.
I think they're going to make the better
Fantastic,
decisions. yeah.
fantastic. And at this juncture again, Koshiba, we pause again for a cause. We pause to take some, to pay some bills and come right back. NPTA Speaks, Inclusive Education, emphasis on the deaf and hard of hearing.
You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us.
Behind every mistake, there's a person. And behind every struggle, there's a story waiting to be told. This is Redemption, a road to rehabilitation and recovery, where honesty meets hope and change begins. I am Prem Badri. I was a part of the problem, and now I want to be part of the solution. So join me on Real TV every Thursday at 6 p.m. See you there.
Looking for all your back-to-school essentials? Well, come on down to Keith Muhammad Books and School Supplies, where we have a wide variety of stationery and stencil supplies. We have wide ranges of textbooks on math, science, and even literature. We also are the sole distributors of the Malaysian publisher Mind to Mind, and have bestsellers Sudoku and Word Search. Visit us at our opening hours and feel our warm hospitality. We are located at number 5 Railway Road, San Juan, and WhatsApp us at 777-7341 for more info.
You need some cash. You need it now. Without the stress, we'll tell you how.
At JMMB Express Finance, there are no fees on unsecured loans from $2,500 to $75,000. That's a fact. None, not one. No fees, no fuss, no cash. Approval in 24 hours, and the funds go direct to your account. Come in or call Jeff today.
Call 2244-JEF.
Emancipation is here again. The Kambule Performing Arts Collective invites you to remember and reconnect at Roots and Rights Emancipation Concert on August 5th at Central Bank Auditorium. Witness Freedom Morning Come and the launch of the Songs of Kambule project. Tickets are $200 and available at islandetickets.com and Kambule HQ. Kambule Roots and Rights. Remembering we story, rebuilding we legacy.
No afraid, no woman, no afraid, no woman, no woman, no afraid, no woman, any woman can be taken.
3.2 million ways to say thank you. And I want to say thank you for giving us 3.2 million views on Real TV. Don't miss the action. Don't miss a beat. Make sure and follow us on every social media platform. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Even follow us on YouTube. Click that subscribe button. And of course, download the Tego app so that you carry us wherever you are. 3.2 million views and we're going higher. Make sure and be a part of the realest of all reels, Real TV.
Welcome back. National Parent Teacher Association speaks. NPTA speaks. Today our topic inclusive education with emphasis on deaf and hard of hearing. Guesting with me today is Kwashiba Lafleur, founder and CEO of Recare Deaf Support Network. Welcome back, Kwashiba.
Thank you.
Last week, July 23rd to 25th in particular, there was this big Caribbean conference. The theme, Pathways to Inclusive Education and Human Rights for Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Fantastic booklet that I was reading and getting information. I was really blown away by the booklet that was given to me. What was the objective of the conference, and more importantly, the takeaways at that conference?
I can't give the full objective now. It's so much. I'd have to use my phone to go through it. But I know some of the main objectives for the conference was us ensuring that persons are more aware of deaf education, some of the things that we should highlight in deaf education, particularly when it comes to the understanding of the curriculum, understanding of the teaching of a deaf child, and particularly ECC was one of the major discussions for us, because we had a week training prior to that. So leading up to the conference, we were in an intensive training program for 2 weeks.
All the delegates?
No, it was a group of deaf persons that was specifically selected to be trained to understand the administering of ECC level teaching for particular parents of deaf and hard of hearing children, so that we can support parents in the early intervention program. So that was one of the key discussions. Understanding parent-led advocacy was also one of the discussions as well, in us ensuring that parents are aware of their role, and sign language, the learning and the teaching of sign language. Those things were, I know I'm not given the academic breakdown of the objectives, but those were particularly some of the discussions that were held, and some of the featured addresses were around those things.
Good takeaways. What would you say was one of the main highlights then?
I think there were a lot. For me though, listening, one of the lecturers in particular, her name was Yaret. She's from, I think it's Puerto Rico, Yaret is from. Understanding the psychological side of how deaf children learn was really important for me. So she did a featured address on one of the days. And to me, that was something that blew me away, because I never thought of, I understand how deaf children learn because of what I was told, what I've read and all of that. But from her giving it from the point of, and she's a deaf psychologist actually. So from her giving you the point from a psychologist's point of view, and the way she broke it down, it was really fascinating for me. I was blown away by that. There were a lot of other discussions. One of the featured address, I know, Kristen Snodden, she spoke of the learning of sign language, TTSL, in particular for us to promote our Trinidad and Tobago sign language more, and getting parents and persons to learn more Trinidad and Tobago sign language, because the child's first language is sign language once they're deaf or they're born with a level of hearing loss. So once we expose them to language, expose them to English, they would be bilingual actually. And they would understand both, but it's a method of doing it. And that was one of the main, for me, those were the main highlights in particular, besides the other things.
The countries that attended, you care to list some of the countries within the Caribbean region that attended?
We had persons from Barbados, there were persons from Guyana and Grenada, Jamaica. Those were some of the Caribbean islands that were there. And presenters were from those islands as well. So we had deaf presenters as well as hearing presenters. But the hearing presenters were particularly persons who work in deaf education for a number of years. Dr. Kamabat, she's from Jamaica. She was one of the hearing presenters who work in deaf education for a number of years in Jamaica. And her presentations were pretty good as well to listen to. And interesting. It was a lot of information. One of my friends, she attended the conference with me. It was her first exposure to understanding deaf education, and she was saying she actually worked with the Ministry of Social Development, and she said, I was really happy to attend this conference because they do social work, and she said, it helped me understand things better now, so that I would know how to get my team to administer stuff better, and they need to learn sign language.
Of course,
so we're going to promote a sign language class.
Kwashiba, how does the regional collaboration help to improve the lives of deaf and hard of hearing persons?
I think collaboration across board is very important.
Definitely.
And because of where the conference, how it happened, This was an idea in the making for years. After me attending a conference abroad, I came back, and for years I've been nagging behind them. We need to have a Deaf Ed conference. And Dr. Skerritt actually listened this time and he said, okay, let's do it. And we did it. So I was really happy when it happened. But when we were in the conference, most of the delegates from the other countries were saying we need to collaborate because the issues that we have in Trinidad are not unique to us. It's a Caribbean issue. So once we collaborate, we think that things can work a little better if we start advocating more public awareness and more collaborations within countries. I think things would could kind of progress a little better.
Good. Let's talk a little bit about the association here, Trinidad and Tobago Association for Hearing Impaired. What's the objective really of this association?
Well, like off-air was explaining, the founding purpose of the association was to provide a better quality of life for deaf persons. So a parent, I think it's Primrose McCarthy, her name was. She had 2 children who were deaf and she wanted a better quality of life for her sons. So she connected with her friend who was at that time Audrey Jeffers, and she wrote this letter to William Gilby. He's an Anglican priest, and she wanted him to come to Trinidad. And he eventually did come to Trinidad, and they started Cascade School for the Deaf. The association came out of that, out of the advocacy of the parents, advocacy of the social workers and the doctors at that time who felt like a number of children were being born deaf and they were not sure, like if they could get them to go to the school in Cascade because it was overfilled. So they started, Audrey Jeffers donated the building in Marabella and they started the school there. So the purpose of the association particularly is to promote a better quality of life for deaf people. However, over the years, things change.
Okay, fine, no problem at all. So the association, I'm told, is governed by Act of Parliament as well.
Yeah, similar to the NPTA.
Exactly. I made the comparison with that. Yeah.
That's one of those NGOs that has a really good, strong backing. And
you see, the advocacy is important because
it is.
We advocate for our parents and for our children and young people, and of course we need the same kind of advocacy at the level of the association. And more importantly though, Sheba, is the partnership, because our reason on that is really home and school united for the good of the child. That's our motto. So that all we do, even in partnering with the deaf and hard of hearing, the object, the center of interest is really the child, because we know
it's supposed to be.
Exactly. We have children who are deaf and hard of hearing, and we want to ensure that we get the best for them and they're able to achieve their best optimum, their best potential when they get the support of associations like the National Parent Teacher
One of the things I know the association recently did, I think was earlier on this year, was partnered with the UTT to provide the interpreting support for deaf persons who are interested in advancing their academic, their education at that level. And I think that was commendable on behalf of them. However, more still could be done in the advocacy. And I believe that advocacy can only happen if you have people who understand the need of the communities that we represent. You guys understand the need. That is it. You must have the passion, you must have the drive, and you must understand the need of the community you represent. And if that doesn't happen, then you really cannot advocate effectively on behalf of.
What message would you want to give to a parent who's discovering today, July 30th, that her child or his child is hard of hearing, is deaf?
I would say that they're not alone. You can reach out to us because we are not just me as part of the network. I'm a parent of a deaf child, but the persons who work within the network, our board of directors, along with the other parents, there are other parents who are actively involved. If they're not parents, they're family members of children who are deaf or hard of hearing. So you have active support there. And once you find out that your child is deaf, I know it can be challenging sometimes to some parents, but learn to sign. One of the most important aspects of it is being able to communicate with your child, and doing the mama, dada thing in speech is not going to help your deaf child. So learn to sign and be able to teach them sign language, and a beautiful relationship would flourish, and they would be really happy in doing that.
Tell me, what is your vision, and this is Kwashiba now speaking, for Trinidad and Tobago to ensure that every deaf child thrives in Trinidad and Tobago, your personal vision?
For me, it's been ensuring that they have that support from home as well as societally, in the sense of when it comes to the education sector, we have the ideal education setting. I know it's blown away, but at least have the adjustment to the curriculum and the academic support that they need within the classroom, etc. I think deaf children can thrive like that. And once they're able to thrive from home, having the communication and the access, academically they're able to do that from the school setting. I think they could become better adults, which make better citizens, which make a better country. So that's what I believe.
Ultimately, that's what we want for the society and for Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. Certainly. And on that score again, Kashiba, we pause for a break. We are right here at Real TV. Today we are speaking with Kashiba Lafleur. The topic, of course, inclusive education. We pause for a pause and come right back. NPTA Speaks.
You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us.
3.2 million ways to say thank you. And I want to say thank you for giving us 3.2 million views on Real TV. Don't miss the action. Don't miss a beat. Make sure and follow us on every social media platform. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Even follow us on YouTube. Click that subscribe button. And of course, download the Tego app so that you carry us wherever you are. 3.2 million views and we're going higher. Make sure and be a part of the realest of all reels, Real TV.
Are you looking for the right space for your business? Fred's Plaza has the space you need. We offer professional rental spaces designed for growing businesses. Conveniently located in San Juan on the Eastern Main Road, opposite the PTSC terminal and between Royal Castle and Mario's. Easy access, high visibility. For inquiries, call or WhatsApp 868-384-7142 today or visit Level 3 Fred's Plaza for details.
In a world full of noise, choose clarity. The Real News digital publication is your choice for important news coverage. From influential figures shaping our nation to a powerful week in review that keeps you informed. The weekly edition is available for download on all of our social media platforms. Smart, sharp, essential. Real News digital publication. Stay informed, stay educated, stay empowered.
Kids say the funniest things, and sometimes the smartest too.
So kids, if you were Prime Minister for one day, what would you do?
That everybody got a light location I'm going to reach. Have the everybody.
Every episode is packed with honest answers, big imaginations, and moments that will make you laugh, smile, and maybe even learn something new.
So join me, Zelisa, as we discover the world through the eyes of our youngest generation. Conversations with Kids, weekdays at 12 p.m. only on Real TV.
Thank you very much. Again, we are here, the last segment of today's installment of NPTA Speaks. Our topic, inclusive education, emphasis on the deaf and hard of hearing. Guesting with me today is Ms. Kashiba Lafleur, founder and CEO, We Care Deaf Support Network. Again, as we face our last segment, time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, I think we are.
I know. Tell me though something about the School for the Deaf and the Orchid Jeffers. I know it's primary level.
Yeah, it
and
is.
Of course, do you have like the numbers of students who attend? Do you have any success stories? SCA results? Do you have any of those information?
I don't have the SCA results this year. Coincidentally, I didn't even ask, which normally I do.
Right.
I'm not too sure I think the last time I had the number of students was about 13 Cascade and about 22 in Orchid Jeffers. But they did have children doing SCA and they were all placed. So, but I didn't know the schools.
Good.
The success stories are, dear, coming out of Cascade, you have many successes.
Great.
Currently, we have 2 teachers, Tennille Smith, Valano Tobias.
Good.
They're trained teachers of the deaf. So they went through their process, they did their special education degrees, and they're teachers of the deaf. Valdano is at Cascade School for the Deaf.
Right.
And Tennille is an assistant teacher. She's a teacher's assistant in Audrey Jaffa's School for the Deaf at the moment.
Okay.
She's doing her master's in sports administration, actually, because she's also the founder of Deaf Cricket Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, so she do pretty well on her own. Those are some of the successes. We have another young man. I actually work with him where I used to work at Nestle, Amir Abdurrahman. He actually is one of the first deaf persons to do their engineering degrees in Trinidad. He's completing his last segment with UTT at the moment, and it's something that they would be, like, yay about, because you rarely have persons completing those type or levels of degrees as a deaf person. So we have other deaf people who may not have excelled at the level of going on to the degree level, but they're doing pretty well for themselves. Jamal Leisure, he is at the Ministry of Agriculture now, and he battled throughout the system because he likes agriculture and stuff like that. Jamal is doing pretty well for himself. He and Danlal works with the University of the West Indies as a researcher in languages and in particular sign language. He travels the world and the Caribbean.
All these are past students, eh? All these are past students.
They're all past students of Cascade School for the Deaf or Audrey Jeffers. All of them are past students. You have many others, other. It have so many different,
Fantastic. Happy to hear that. Again, the emphasis has to be on inclusive education.
Yeah, definitely.
And every child born can succeed and can do well.
Definitely.
At the optimum level.
They can.
But if you were to sit with a policymaker right now, what message are you going to tell that policymaker as it pertains to deaf and hearing impaired or hard of hearing?
I'm not too sure if I want to sit with a policymaker.
Excuse me?
I think I would sit with the community first for us to come to a collective agreement on what it is we really want to achieve. Because I think we focus on legislation and policies, but we do not understand a collective voice needs to be heard in that instance. So we know deaf education is important. We understand that we need some of the systems adjusted to support persons who are deaf in society. In government ministries, we need persons who actually could learn to sign and all of that. But some of those things, if we want to get policies enacted or legislation passed, we all need to come together as the community first and decide on these are the key things that we're looking at. And then I could sit with the policymaker and have the conversation.
I appreciate that. And in that regard then, how could the NPTA partner with either your association or any agency associated with deaf and hard of hearing to be able to bring about that meeting of the minds first, of course, and then of course approaching the policymakers now to be able to pay more attention and give more tools and equipment to the deaf and hearing impaired community?
I think it starts by us doing things like this, as well as doing some public awareness campaigns as well, because I think awareness is very important and advocacy is the key. So things like this are important. We can also, Cascade School for the Deaf has their little parent group. I think they've been wanting to be a part of the PTA for a while, so we could also connect them where you guys could like invite them to lectures and sessions and those kind of things as well. But I believe that if we start doing public awareness campaigns, not just on children broadly, but also on inclusive education and what a child with a disability may encounter, but what are some of the things that we can use to mitigate that challenge in the classroom or in society, those things possibly will be able to help, and then we gradually go along with another process of us all coming together to sit to have the conversations.
I couldn't end this interview, Kashiba, without asking you to practically demonstrate to us a message, a sentence, some kind of information, sign language information to us. In other words, you do the sign and of course you tell us what you
I'm trying to think of what I can
anything at all. Happy Thursday.
That's easy.
Okay, well, fine. No, it's up to you, really.
And you could do it with me if you want.
Oh, but ideal, please. I'd be more than happy.
So we have to tell them bye.
Good.
Happy
Thursday.
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 Thursday. And I will say, enjoy your weekend.
Great, fantastic. No, but, I'm making light of it, but of course we need to pay a little more attention on the importance of sign language and see how we can make sign language another language, almost a compulsory language in our schools, and of course improve the curriculum to be able to have sign language as a second language in our education system. Any parting words, Shiva?
I just want to thank you guys for having me on the program. I think it was a really enjoyable conversation, and I'm looking forward to the partnership. I like working with other people, so I'm looking forward to the public awareness campaigns and stuff like that.
Good. We will take you up on that most definitely, because our real aim, as I told you, is to ensure that there's inclusive education. All children can learn, and all children have a role to play in the nation building of Trinidad and Tobago. And as an organization, we plan to be able to bring everybody on board and be part of the process in building a better Trinidad and Tobago. Incidentally, this coming Saturday, as you are aware, is our emancipation.
Yeah, I am.
And I really want to wish us all a peaceful, enjoyable Emancipation Day. It's our 188th anniversary of emancipation. And of course, freedom comes in several forms, of course. And of course, we feel free to be able to advocate for the deaf and hard of hearing community in Trinidad and Tobago. Ms. LaFleur, my distinct pleasure in having you as my guest today.
Thank you very much.
It's the first, but I'm sure it won't be the last.
Thank you.
I'll be seeing and hearing much more of you. All the best to you.
Same. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
And opinions expressed in the preceding program were those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the official views of Real TV, its management, or affiliates. Content was provided for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Kids say the funniest things, and sometimes the smartest too.
So kids, if you were Prime Minister for one day, what would you do?
That everybody got a light location I'm going to reach. Have everybody.
Every episode is packed with honest answers, big imaginations, and moments that will make you laugh, smile, and maybe even learn something new.
So join me, Zelisa, as we discover the world through the eyes of our youngest generation. Conversations with Kids, weekdays at 12 p.m. only on Real TV. You're viewing Real TV. Thanks for choosing us.
3.2 million ways to say thank you. And I want to say thank you for giving us 3.2 million views on Real TV. Don't miss the action. Don't miss a beat. Make sure and follow us on every social media platform. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Even follow us on YouTube. Click that subscribe button. And of course, download the Tego app so that you carry us wherever you are. 3.2 million views and we're going higher. Make sure and be a part of the realest of all reels, Real TV.
Are you looking for the right space for your business? Fred's Plaza has the space you need. We offer professional rental spaces designed for growing businesses. Conveniently located in San Juan on the Eastern Main Road, opposite the PTSC terminal and between Royal Castle and Mario's. Easy access, high visibility. For inquiries, call or WhatsApp 868-384-7142 today, or visit Level 3 Fred's Plaza for details.
In a world full of noise, choose clarity. The Real News digital publication is your choice for important news coverage. From influential figures shaping our nation weekly edition is available for download on all of our social media platforms. Smart, sharp, essential, real news digital publication. Stay informed, stay educated, stay empowered.
Kids say the